Policymakers are one step behind markets. Europe must get its act together. That was the criticism of the chief economist of the International Monetary Fund yesterday, as the IMF delivered a report saying the global economy was entering a dangerous new phase. In some parts of Europe, elections, scandal and political debates are making headlines, whilst economic problems remain. Joining me on the line to talk exclusively to Dukascopy TV about this is the Senior Economist to the German Berenberg Bank, Dr. Christian Schulz, who has also worked for the ECB. Christian, in Germany, the ZEW indicator of economic sentiment fell in September, but by less than predicted. However, the recent state election in Berlin suggests political sentiment is low. Do you think the political situation in Germany could lead to a change in their approach to Europe's economic problems?
Well, it's true that we do see increasing instability in the current government in Germany. The Liberal Democrats, the junior partner in the coalition, has been losing consistently in regional elections this year. Also, Merkel's party has been losing in elections. Now, this, of course, is not very good for the stability of Merkel's government, as we're going into extremely important votes in the parliament next week on the extension of the European Rescue Fund and on the second Greek bailout package, and also at the beginning of next year on the permanent rescue mechanism for Europe, the ESM. But we have to keep in mind that in Germany, the opposition is actually more Europhile or more supportive to the European project than the current government. So any change in government would actually produce a probably more Europhile government, a government that would be ready to put more German taxpayers' money at risk in support of weaker European economies.
Now, Christian, Italy saw its credit rating downgraded for the first time in 5 years yesterday. The government there accused S&P of taking into account Italian politics more than Italian economics. And of course, the same agency blamed domestic politics for its downgrade of the USA. Is politics having a big impact on the way the global economic problems are panning out?
Well, clearly, Standard & Poor's mentioned political instability, and it's a nice wording for saying that the government is maybe not competent in their view. So it's clearly something that does not help to regain the credibility. And credibility is really what the whole Eurozone crisis is about. Credibility is something that you can quite quickly destroy, and the Europeans have managed that, unfortunately, and which is something that takes really a very long time to rebuild. So the solution to the crisis is not going to be something, a short-term fix, a solution once for all that many people are clamoring for, but it's going to mean buying time again and again to make the necessary adjustments and prove to the world, to the markets, that Europe is serious about rebalancing its economies and its fiscal deficits.
Finally, Christian, it is the political party conference season in the UK, and the economy is obviously dominating. The IMF cut its growth forecast for the country yesterday. Do you think they're beginning to turn against the economic approach of the UK, and could we see the political argument there for a Plan B win out?
Well, for the UK is in a good situation in the sense markets seem to trust the UK. Yields are at an extreme low, so the UK does not need to go through the same process as some peripheral European countries have to go through, that every time they miss a fiscal target, every time the budget deficit exceeds the plan, to have to introduce additional austerity measures, which then stifle economic growth even more. Of course, if the economy were to really tank, then the government could benefit from its very low interest rates and possibly delay some of its cuts, just as the IMF has suggested. On the other hand, the Bank of England today in the minutes revealed that it was ready to provide additional stimulus as well. So the government may not be as pressured to provide something as the IMF has suggested it might be.
Thank you very much for that, Christian. Focus now turns to the USA with the upcoming FOMC announcement. Dukascopy TV will have an interview on the US economy tomorrow with RBS, so stay tuned. Goodbye.